My name is Dr. Sherry Tomlin, and I'm coming to you live from the Dallas, Texas Metroplex here
Ah,
in America. And
indeed.
so excited because I've been waiting all week for this one night with our very special guest, Director Paul Wilo from Zambia. Director Paul Wilo, welcome.
Hi. Good evening, Sherry. How are you? What time is it in America? What time is it?
It is 1:15 in America in the afternoon.
Ah, okay. In Zambia, it is 8:15 in the evenings. So,
Okay,
and the Wi-Fi is very, very bad.
okay.
We're having a little bumpy, buffering network.
Yeah, I can see that, but we'll make it quick. And thanks
Okay.
for agreeing to, come on and tell us more about this new movie, Spirits of Yambezi, that you worked on last year. And we also have Miss
hmm
Esther Chikankalo. She'll be joining us soon. She's one of the stars in the Spirits of Yambezi movie in that short film. So we'll be talking to her later. And welcome, viewers. I know this is a big surprise. We weren't able to access the Spirits of Yambezi YouTube channel, not sure why, but here we are on the Dr. Sherry Tomlin YouTube channel, the African Diaspora Doc YouTube channel. So before we begin, let me share a little background information about Director Paul. He was born and raised in Lusaka, Zambia. Were you born and raised in Lusaka, Zambia? You were?
So I was
Oh,
born and raised in Lusaka, Zambia.
the internet knows everything about you. So anyway, you are you are one of the most dynamic filmmakers in Africa, and you've worked on different short films, television series, feature productions. That includes productions like Scars for Rachel, Broken, and the TV series Mirrors, right?
Yes, 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 yes. I have had to, I think I juggled a lot in between a lot of positions or credit roles. I did directing for short films, for features, for TV series. Then I did writing for features, for TV series and short films. Then I also did some acting. I think when I was beginning, I started off as an actor, then sort
Oh,
of like diverted into television as well.
okay, so tell us more about Maria Christou, the Boomba story. That was screened at Cannes Film Festival. It earned multiple awards, including Best African Film, Best Indie Film, Best Indie Feature Film, and Best Director. So tell us about the
Yeah.
journey with that movie.
Maria Christou, The Rumba Story was my first feature. It's screened in more than 30 film festivals. I think now it's more than 50 film festivals.
Okay.
I think we won at Cannes Wild Film Festival. Forgive the noise in the background. Um, he was looking up.
You're you're good.
So we screened at Cannes World Film Festival, and we won for Best Indie Feature, Best Director, Best African Film, and we went around the world as well. We screened at Caribbean Tales in the Caribbeans, the
Okay.
FESPACO, Durban International Film Festival, to mention about a few. But then we've been around the film. I think it went around Africa. It was really well received. We received a lot of accolades, and from there we we were nominated at the African
We
Movie
say
no
accolades.
African.
We say accolades. Yeah, we say accolades in America. So accolades is what you're okay. Continue, Director Paul. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So we did most of those. I think we did screen in so many film festivals,
Yeah.
and the making of Maria Christou was really um life-changing for me as a young filmmaker because this is when I was starting out. This is when I was sort of like getting my hands on understanding what storytelling was, filmmaking in general. This is when I
Yeah.
was learning how to sort of navigate a whole big team because we're shooting out of Lusaka. We were sourcing funding from our own pockets, from friends, from relatives, just to make the film. And so it was really life-changing. I think so. It was also, in a way, something that brought me here, taught me to be this resilient filmmaker, taught me to sort of like work and navigate different spaces of different to make creatives from different backgrounds, so to say. So I think, yeah, Maria Christi was life-changing. I think also the fact that it was a real life story, it was derived from like a real life experience,
Mm.
given the fact that there's so many people in Africa, or so many young women in Africa, that are subjected to early marriages. And this could be from a family point of view, societal point of view. But Maria Christi was sort of like tackling the aspect of religious brainwash on our young women in Africa, especially from indigenous churches, and how that sort of like taught them that their place in this world is beside their husband. And so these women are wired from a young age to
Right.
say immediately when they're 16 or 15 or 14, they need to sort of like find a man to sort of like settle down with. And that's a young age. This is an age where we are discovering certain things, learning certain things about ourselves, just sort of like understanding who we are as human beings. And imagine at that age and you're already being sent into marriage. That can be really confusing for any person. But then it's a reality of people in certain areas of the world. It's a reality of so many people. And so we wanted to spotlight that issue, create an awareness around the subject matter, and sort of like create also a way of how do we dialogue as a community or as a society in terms of like where we place women, where norms and human rights sort of like sometimes they collide. And so yeah, I think that has been really, yeah, it was really a very great experience for us, for
Yeah.
me, and for the team as well.
And it was a great movie, and you can watch it on YouTube, viewers, if you have time tonight, check it out. I watched it, I think, 4 times now, and I can't wait to watch
Oh.
it again. Yes, it just like it's very gripping. It was just, yeah, that's when I said, you know, this young director he's going places. He is phenomenal. Another one that I completely fell in love with, another one of your movies is Faces of Africa. I believe uh, you produced and directed
Oh, he's zoning out.
with Kenneth
Hello, can you hear
Copeland.
me?
Yeah. Tell us more about that movie with, I think, the president of Zambia, Kenneth Kaunda. Do you remember that?
Hello?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, we can hear you.
so I didn't get you. You froze for a while. Which
Right.
other one?
I was saying The Faces of Africa, Kenneth Kaunda. You did that one, right?
No, I
Oh, you didn't
did.
do that one?
No, I didn't do that one. I did we're starting with a project called Nkoloso. It's
Okay.
about this African astronaut that wanted to go to the moon. He was Zambian. It's based on a
Right.
true story. I'm
Right.
working with it with Bamboo Media, with my colleague Dixon Mwape. So it's centered
Okay.
around, I think there's people know about Dinkolo. So I think he's been made as there's this sort of like perspective that has been, a narrative sort of that has been shared that, excuse me, that he wasn't okay upstairs,
Oh,
and so we sort of like create a different narrative in terms of like understanding why he was very passionate about going to the moon, even if he was from Africa, or especially from a country like Zambia. So I did work on my new film. I mean, my recent project is Service to Heart, which has also gone around in different film festivals. It's a film about mental health,
okay.
how mothers that are taking care of sick children with terminal illnesses sort of like get drained, that emotional stress of knowing that every day your child has a terminal illness and they might pass or they might die. And just facing that constant fear of losing that child and everything else being put on hold, your freedom, your social life, your spiritual life, the only thing you have at this point is taking care of this child and making sure that they have what they need,
Right.
and
Okay.
do
So,
things of your own, and how that sort of like gets a toll on families and
mhm,
how they navigate that situation as well. How do they sort of like accommodate it? How do they handle it amongst themselves as family members? And also just the conversation slightly of euthanasia in African society and where we're at. How do we look at it?
mm,
Because it's a very sensitive subject around the world. It's a scary subject around the world.
yeah, well, uh,
We made a bold decision to tell a story in those lines.
yeah. Well, we'll talk about euthanasia another day, but let's move on. Let's stick with yeah, this new film.
Okay.
It's Sunday. We want to be a little, uh in good spirits. So
It's it's understood. It's
let's talk
understood. No,
let's
we
talk
are. We're in
about
good
the
spirits. We're in
yeah,
the Zambezi,
yeah.
Yambezi spirit.
That's a great segue. Let's talk about the spirits. And YouTube is giving us a hard time with this spirits. I think they feel we're selling alcohol. But Spirits of Yambezi is a new short film that you worked on the end of last year, right? It's a supernatural thriller. And yeah, tell us more about that short film, director Paul.
So the spirits of the Yambezi, as Doug has highlighted, is a story that tackles a whole. It's a story that sort of like touches the Lozi mythology. So in Zambia, we have so many tribes. We have like 72 tribes. And each tribe believes in something. We all believe in something greater. There's always like something, divine power somewhere. So the Lozi people believe that from the very beginning, when in the beginning, when the world was made, or when life was was created in the world, in the very beginning, there was a god, and his name was Nyambe. It's just the same as a Christian religious point of view, but then for them, they believe that their god, the first man or the first creation, was a god called Nyambe, and this god was given the power to create human beings, create animals, and so he created more like um, a companion who was Kamunu, his first human. And when these two, Nyambe loved Kamunu dearly. And so you find the story in the Lozi mythology. It's very, very popular. It's something they hold it's close to these people. It defines these people. It's like an identity for them as a tribe, as a culture. It's something they've embraced. It's something that they sort of like every young one, the story is passed on from the older generation to the younger generation. And in a sense, we were telling a story. It's a folklore that tackles a belief from this type. It's a folklore that sort of like spotlights a
Okay.
belief from this tribe. And so what we did is we created a spirit of the Yambezi. We created a story of the time, just like in the Bible, God is in heaven, left the earth, and then the devil is left roaming around. But for
Right.
Nyambe and Kamunu, Nyambe banished Kamunu from the world. And so Kamunu was trying to come back and continue his deceptive ways, like the devil. And
Mm,
Nyambe was up there in the sky, waiting for
mm,
people to sort of fully dedicate themselves to him as the only supreme
right.
power. And so our story is centered around this young woman, Kato, and her tribe, who are believers in Yambe, are so enthusiastic, they're so focused, they're determined, and for them, this has always been the right way, the right channel. But amongst them, there are people that there's a woman, a woman who thinks this place. And so she sort of like uses what she calls their naivety to sort of like seek power from Kamunu and bring him back to the world, into existence. And so this creates a certain level of conflict amongst the people. It divides them. There's chaos. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear.
Mm.
And when you do
Yeah, and that's the little
fear, I mean
right.
uncertainty.
Okay. If you hear me interject, that means your connection went out. So yeah, that's a movie that I was, woke up after having a nightmare. After watching it, I woke up, the next day from a nightmare. So it's pretty
What
scary.
nightmare? What nightmare were you having?
I that demon was whispering in my ear, waking me up in the morning, and I was like, ah. I was like, "No."
That's very funny.
I
That's
know.
funny.
So
That's funny. Oh my God.
yes, that's
Yeah.
pretty realistic stuff that you did. And you're Lozi, right? You're from
Mhm.
the Lozi tribe. Stop laughing
No,
at
I'm
me.
not.
We're coming to you in a minute. You're not
No, I'm
from the,
not.
you're not Lozi?
No, I'm
Oh,
not. No,
wow.
I'm not from the Lozi tribe, but I think I was raised in a home
Oh,
where people were Lozi. My dad, my stepfather is Lozi. And
oh,
so I think you could maybe say, oh, you're very passionate about the story. I was
yeah.
passionate about the story because we haven't had in Zambia, I think there's some tribes that are very, for lack of a better word, very common, more common than the other tribes.
Oh,
And I was stories are told around those common tribes. There's Bemba, there's like the Bemba people, Bemba as a language, and also Nyanja and just Chewa and the like. So Lozi's, for me, the exciting thing was this is not a minority group of the of Zambia. This is like it's a big group, but it's not very very popular. So I wanted to tell a story around that, and so this is why from the very beginning when it
okay.
was sort of like centered around the Lozi mythology, I was like, yes, let's do this one. Let's do this one because in a way, for me, it was representation.
Yeah.
In a way, for me, it was more of some for some reason bridging that gap that has been created among its different tribes. I think we could all look at this film and see ourselves in these people because the themes are relatable. It's about humanity, it's about Ubuntu, it's about resilience, it's about love, it's about also choices that we make as human beings. And these choices can either be good, can have good consequences or bad consequences. And spotlighting for me the story or probably creating a story where we sort of like question ourselves after watching and where we stand in the world. For me, that was the point. The point was to sort of like create a mirror and we look at ourselves and say, who am I? Am I a Kato? Am I a Pumulo in this situation? Where do I stand in the world and what contribution am I contributing to the world and just overall to the universe? At large. Yeah. So I think yeah, this is why a lot of people think, oh, you're Lozi, you're very passionate about it. I was passionate because for me it was a lot. There was so much to talk about. There's so much. It's a short film, but it's so many things that it highlights. And so that was an important thing for me.
Yes, well, you did a fabulous job, and you and my co-producer Patrick Shumba, try to include as much little things from other tribes and from the region as well, the East Africa region,
Mhm.
so everyone feels like something was included for them, their name or the language, whatever. So we try to include as much so everyone feels a part of the story. So there's about 5 men from Zambia who I just admire. You're one of them. You're number one. There's some others that I need to mention. uh, I'm really very impressed with. And when I see you, Director Paul, I see Black excellence. Okay. So your command of the English
Thank
language.
you.
Yes, your gravitas, your leadership. Leadership to me is, uh, not very, we need more of that. Let's just say it like that. Your discipline,
Mhm.
you're no nonsense when it comes to your work. But, outside of work, you're cool and easygoing. You're a gentle guy. So
Yeah.
how do you balance the stress that comes with working with people and your personal life?
I think I was raised by very um loving and both disciplined women. So first of all, my grandmother taught me that leadership does not mean to be rude. Leadership doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. Sorry for using that word. She taught me that leadership is about having the ability to command a room, and people should be able to freely fight for the objective or fight for the goal because the leader is a good person. Apart from a leader being a good person, is also, I think, setting boundaries. I think I'm very keen, I'm very, very particular about boundaries. I think this is what I got from my mother. She will be the most happiest person, but then don't cross boundaries. And for me, that is a lesson I go about in life. I carry it with me. It's like it's a necessity to sort of like be nice, be kind, show up for people, but then let not those people take advantage of the fact that you're kind as a person. And so I carry that principle with me because for me, I feel like when you're working with different people from different backgrounds, these are people that are triggered by different emotions or different situations. These are people that sort of like look at life differently from different perspectives. Sorry. So when you you need to tread carefully around people. Know each person. For me, I take time. I take time with my crew. I take time with my cast members, just sort of getting to understand where they're at, excuse me, where they're at, so that each and every member of the team feels seen and they feel appreciated. I don't like it when people sort of feel left behind. I want every person to feel like, oh, I'm working for this production, I'm working for this project, and I feel appreciated and I also feel prioritized. I think people just want that. And so when people feel like they can trust you as a leader and they feel like you're prioritizing their emotions, their well-being, also just understanding the different levels of work and contributions to it, they trust the leader. So for me, it's just, I don't want to be hard. I don't want to be harsh. I can be harsh, I can be hard. But the first thing is I create a family, a balance between work and between also just socially. Like let's interact, let's laugh, let's get to know each other. Okay, where are you from? Okay, what do you like? And then for work, what are you supposed to be delivering for work? Okay, why are you here? So I think it's quite important to set the record straight from onset. From onset as a director, set the record straight. Say, oh, we can jive, we can laugh, we can make jokes, but then we will not start making jokes at the expense of the budget, of the resources that have been put into a production. Then now you're taking advantage of somebody's kindness. And taking advantage is not a good thing. So lessons are supposed to be learned. People are supposed to be made examples. We're firing you.
And change your
Yeah.
yeah, whenever you need to. And yeah, that's very admirable. And another Zambian hero that I need to recognize today, before we move on and talk about your crew, the Real Image crew, we want to say a
Mhm.
special shout out to our beloved Patrick Shumba. He went from Zambia all the way to Hollywood, and he was part of the Black Panther movie. He is also
Mhm.
the executive producer of the Spirits of Yambezi movie, and we'll be planning the next steps with
Mhm.
him
Mhm.
in the coming weeks. And also, yeah, shout out to Mr. Stephen Banda, another Zambian who's very near and dear to my heart. Another shout out to Mr. Zulu, and also
Mhm.
Counselor Sikota. He, because of Counselor Sikota, we ended up here today and his help. And we haven't forgotten you, counselors. Is that how he,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Sikota from Uka, UKA, there in Zambia? We appreciate,
Tikota. Tikota. Yes.
yeah, so we really appreciate your help to get us this far. We haven't forgotten you. We know we need to get back to you about certain things, but we're still clearing up some loose ends from 2025. So here we are in 2026, and we thank the men from Zambia who for your contributions, your leadership, like we says. And we can't leave out the Real Image crew because we have director of pictures, Dixon, we have John, we have boyfriend. He's not my boyfriend, but what's
Who's
boyfriend's
boyfriend?
name? What's
Who's
his name?
boyfriend?
He's on your crew. Thought
Who's
you knew. He goes
boyfriend?
by the name
Who's
boyfriend.
boyfriend in the crew?
He's not my boyfriend. I thought you knew. He goes by boyfriend. Anyway, and there's Richard. You got to find out what his real name.
That's very funny. I don't know any crew members in my team that are named boyfriend.
Yeah,
I'll probably have to do like a whole stage
yeah,
tour so that I find out who boyfriend
right.
is.
Richard and yeah. So when I met
Hmm.
them, I was so impressed with everyone. They were, joined the meeting. They were quiet, respectful. It was like I was back in the United States military. And, this is what we call dress right dress in the military when we're coming into formation and nobody speaks. All you hear is the commander. And it's like, you ever see Transformers? They just like all fall into place, fall down to earth. And they're like, that's how it's like a machine, your crew. So I was so impressed because, I mean, with the cast, and it was a whole nother environment. It was like, oh, we don't have connection. We can't pay our rent,
Hmm.
our sick. Somebody has a headache, some over here dealing with all
Hmm.
issues that they have. And then I, log in and
Hmm.
join your crew. And it's like, whoa, this was like so
Hmm.
different. So yeah, I, you know, I have to say a shout out to the Real Image crew. And what did you tell me, Director Paul? You said you're going through this because you spoiled the cast. This is why you're going through what you're going through. Remember you told
No,
me that?
but then, it's what it is. I mean, when you're a producer and you create a certain pattern or a certain atmosphere around your team, they get used to the atmosphere. You're not going to cut us down in the middle of something we're used to. It's a pattern. You've created a pattern. We like the pattern, and then towards the end, in the midway to in production, then you say, "No, we're cutting down that pattern." I wouldn't even like it myself. I would just be like, "No, this was created. It's how we sort of like have embraced this space. This space has been embraced because we can run to our producer and tell her about what we're encountering as people. We can go to our producer and sort of like, also just tell her about our problems and everything that we're going through. It's a good environment to create. Like I said, you could be a good person, a great human being, but also it's important for you to sort of like create boundaries in certain places. But I like the fact that the team was very willing, the cast was dedicated. It's very, very hard to find a dedicated cast in Zambia, especially if you're shooting in the Rulos. Like that was in the outskirts, like very, very far from Lusaka. And so we have to like pack up and leave everything behind, including the crew themselves. So when you
Yeah.
have a team that sort of like, prioritizes that they prioritizes a production and say, regardless of where we're at, if it's in the middle of the night, we will still deliver. We'll still deliver and still be on time. As people, I think for me that was really good. And also, what I liked was the team spirit. At some point, the cast members, Esther, shout out to you, would come in and want just sort of like everybody to be in a place where they were comfortable and nobody was left behind.
Right.
It's a good thing not to work with crew members and cast members that are selfish or
Yeah.
that probably prioritize themselves and say, oh, it's a me thing because I have a bigger position, then I should probably get more attention or get a good, a better room than the rest of the team. I think at some point it began to feel like we could trust each other. At first, I know when you're starting to work, you're like, oh, what is in it for you? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? There's a lot of like suspicion. But then towards the end, we sort of like realized we're working towards one goal. And the project was the spirit of the Yambezi. It has to be made, regardless of whatever hardship, any hiccups we had along the way, any differences, any uh, uh, sentiments. the truth, the fact is the objective was the
Right.
spirit of the Yambezi, and it had to be made.
Hmm. Yes, Director Paul, I'm checking to see if there's any questions in our chat. Anyone have a question for Director Paul? Okay, while we're waiting for uh our audience to respond. Yeah, a round of applause to the Spirits of Yambezi cast. They did a brilliant job. Samantha Zulu, she did an outstanding job. Esther, she nailed her role. This was your first time doing a live action film, right, Esther?
Yeah, it was my first time.
I know. I remember you came back after, was it the first day out there? You were like, I quit. And I was like, no,
No,
Esther.
for real. I thought I wouldn't fit in character, you know.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
yeah, you made it through. We thank God. And yeah, so let's pause right there. Let's have our viewers check out the trailer for Spirits of Yambezi. Do you have that queued up for us, Esther?
I do have it queued up. Although, can I share a dual screen? It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, let's see if things go the way it should.
Just keep talking.
All right, all
Uh,
right, all right. So yeah, this was this was a real journey for all of us. And you wrote actually wrote the theme song screenplay, right? So also take a listen to that after we, either one, whichever one comes first, if we can listen to the song or if we can watch the trailer. So,
can you see everything?
we can see you. Spirits of Yambezi. Okay, let's take a look. Hope we don't have any buffering issues. Yeah. Okay, do we have audio? Okay, so we'll have to navigate. Yeah. So here's Samantha Zulu, that's MJ, and she's deceiving everyone. Kind of like what we're witnessing today, right? People just walk up to folks and tell them, yes, this is what God said, and we have all these different gods. And
Done.
I know, so it's that was great, but we needed audio. So we don't have a lot of time. We're going to do part two next week because we had technical issues logging into our Spirits of Yambezi YouTube channel. So we'll be on that platform next week on that channel. And this week, we're just doing our practice run on the African Diaspora Doc channel, which is my personal channel. So, yeah, let's pause right here so we can, ask Esther a few questions. Esther Chikankalo is a singer, animator, law student, and now actress. Woohoo! So, yeah, let's take a moment to introduce you, Esther, to our viewers and ask you a few questions about your experience working on the Spirits of Yambezi movie. So, what was it like, first of all, working with director Paul?
Thank you so much for that introduction. Really, it was amazing. First of all, that's a very confusing introduction. Lawyer. Yeah. But yes, first of all, to answer your question, the first time I encountered director Paul, I was shaking in my boots. He's Yeah, he when he speaks of boundaries, I think even just facial wise, you can tell he's a walking boundary on his own. So you can't really like, I was just scared. I was just like, there. Then he talked to me like, "Hey, calm down. Just breathe in." I'm used to I'm used to voiceover animation. So voiceover animation is more of you can make accents, you can make voices, you can make different types of characters with your voice. So if I want to sound like SpongeBob, I'll sound like SpongeBob. And then you find that it kind of conflicts the real natural sense of live action type of acting. So Director Paul's first word was, please, you're not doing voiceovers, you're doing real acting. So just be yourself, calm down, compose yourself, and live the moment. Feel the script. That's the hardest part. That was the hardest part for me. Feeling the script. How? In my mind, it was all fiction. How am I going to feel something that's fiction? Like it was so difficult to just enter that realm of living it. But we went through like rehearsals. He corrected me here and there. He's a great person, a great writer, a great visionary. I did look him up with his projects. Maria Cristo is one of them. I loved it. I did appreciate him over that. Um, Really, it was a journey for me getting out of the box of animation and now bringing into live action. It was a journey. It was a little bit scary, but it was a beautiful experience. I loved the thrill. I loved the setting. I loved each and every location points that they had selected. I loved how it was very well organized and very well, played out. The team was beautiful, and working on Yambezi was, I think it was a great. I really feel it was a great experience. I started feeling the script more like, I started living by the script more. I started finally getting in, and I do feel if there's gonna be a full film, we're gonna do more and more, because this has really lifted my spirits. This project lifted my spirits. The cast was amazing. The people in Chirundu were beautiful, and yeah, pretty much, yeah.
We were out there in Chirundu. It's a remote area at the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe with alligators. What was it like being out there with the wildlife and no bathroom and no, no cell
Oh
phone?
man. Oh wow, wow, wow. Well, when we come to the border and the alligators, one of the scariest experiences that I still remember today is when we went to the Zambezi River just by the clinic there. Three things happened. The first thing is there's this doctor who was working near the clinic and came to watch, and then he started showing us a patient who was just like eaten by a crocodile. Like their part of their rib cage was like removed out, and it was so scary. And he was sharing photos to us. And then the hippos were so loud. Oh my god, the hippos! I never knew hippos were this, um, loud. We could see the national park on the other side of the river. The elephants came out. The wildebeest came out. It was a great experience. I still have videos of that. One thing that they'll never tell you in Chirundo is when you go to the Zambezi River, please wear your shoes. There are thorns on those rocks, and we did have a great a great bitter experience with the thorns there, but it was an amazing experience. I loved it. I love the wild. I love being outside. So yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, so let's take a look at another video from Chirundu. Wait, I think, hold on a second. We have something here. Tell us about this tree. A second. My system. Let me show you 1 second. Yeah. Do you remember anything about this tree?
Oh yeah, Ngombele the tree, the sleeping cow. Um, they call it the sleeping cow because um, it looks like a sleeping cow when you get on the top, not just by viewing it really, but when you get on the top, it does look like a sleeping cow. But when you're afar, it doesn't look like anything of that. So it was a tree that was used by our ancestors for trade. Like that's why they would trade. Like if you enter inside, you're going to see they used to call it a meeting room where they would do certain meetings and all that inside. It's quite big, and you would find like some ancient artifacts over there, some odd bullets. I did take some videos of that, and you would also find like it's just kept well, it's preserved well, like they have preserved it well. It's a historical monument, and director Paul did connect with the tree. He thanked it for staying this long for us to also experience its wonder. So it was beautiful, and yeah, people should go see it. It's really great. It's a great experience, and be careful of the bees there, but it was a great experience. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have more videos next week with yeah, those adventures out there. But tell us what it was like working with Mumbayachi uh, in the
Yeah.
studio on the River soundtrack.
Yeah, working with Mumbayachi was an amazing experience. I still have great uh, connection with him right now, even after the film. He was an amazing person, and to be honest with you, Mumbayachi is a powerhouse. uh his voice on the track, I never pictured my track to really like sound that beautiful as as he delivered it. I wrote this song, like I said, in 2023. What inspired me to write River? Mostly my parents, and most importantly, it was an opening journey for me to really engage more in culture activities and pan-africanism. That's why it says, river, river calling. The river in me flows like my culture, and it calls me, and it streams in me like the culture and blood that I have. So when I wrote that song, I kept it. I didn't know how to do with it. Then, you came along and I sent it to you, and you're like, hey, this is a beautiful song. We really, really need to like work around it and maybe add it to the movie or something. Then Patrick heard it, and I was like, Patrick was like, I want you, I want this song, I want this song, I want this song to be in Yambezi. And hey, we did it. We worked on it. It was beautiful. It was phenomenal. It always reminds me of, the Lion King vibes. I'm a big fan of the Lion King. So it was an amazing song, and I'm looking forward to writing more songs like that. I'm still working on more songs like that, and I'm sure we would collaborate more in the future. But yes, it was an amazing experience working with him.
Yes. Oh, here's another picture of Yachi. I hope everyone can see my screen. That's him getting ready before production started. Can you see him?
Yeah, yeah, we can.
Yeah. So we also have the fabulous Samantha Zulu as well. Let's see if we can get her up there. Samantha, tell us what it was like meeting such a big star in Zambia, Samantha Zulu.
Yeah, Samantha was amazing. I've known Samantha since before the monkey business, before Yambezi. She's a friend of mine, and I really didn't understand. Like she just boomed all of a sudden overnight. I'm just like, wow. And yeah, she's a hardworking person. She's like director Paul said, the cast was very free spirited. They looked after one another. No one was saying, no, I'm big. I have this big position. Everyone was just humble and down to earth. And they all connected. She was talking with everyone. She was associating with everyone. She never hid to herself. She was there, and that's the goodness about her. That's what I love about Sam. She's always there for the people, and working with her was a great experience. She was like, "Hey, calm down," because I was nervous. She's like, "Calm down, it's okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. And we've had great experiences, at the Monkey Business event. It was amazing as well. She delivered. She's very welcoming, and I loved working with her. Really, I loved working with her, and I'm still working with her. She's an amazing person. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing uh your experiences with us today, Esther. And we wish you all the best with, your projects and hopefully uh, more work on the Spirits of Yambezi set this year. And as we wrap up today's podcast, viewers, we would like to thank director Paul Wilo for joining us. He's a award-winning Zambian director, not just any award that you can go to the corner store to get. He's got uh, a real award and many awards, from what I heard. One of them is from Cannes, the Cannes Film Festival. Also, he has agreed to come back next week, and hopefully we'll be on the Spirits of Yambezi YouTube channel, so we can talk more about, we have a lot to talk about, right, Director Paul? Did we lose Director Paul? Yeah, so we can talk about um, some of the fun facts, right, from the movie. We'll have behind the scenes videos, like we said. We'll have a grand prize of 500 kwacha for the winner of next week's contest. So email us at spiritsofembc@gmail.com if you want to be part of the contest for next week, if you want to participate. So tell your family, your church members, invite your friends, everyone to tune in next week to the Spirits of Yambezi YouTube channel, right here, Sunday, 8 p.m. Zambia time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And also, yeah, we want to thank Director Paul for sharing his insights. It looks like we lost connection with him, but we also want to thank the youth from Nextna.com, Nextnaa, for sponsoring our podcast today. And also, please check out Macmillian Music on YouTube. Thank you, sponsors. And thank you, Esther, and everyone who's watching us from around the world. Thanks for being here. And if you are interested in being an intern at Nextna, if maybe you want to get experience doing sales, media, tech, check out nextna.com, nextnaa.com, or email info@nextna.com. And remember to subscribe and share this conversation with friends and family. I'm your host, Dr. Sherry Tomlin, executive producer for Spirits of Yambezi, here with Esther. Any last words before we end our podcast today, Esther?
Yeah, my last words would be Yambezi and Sherry Jerry Studios have been a stepping stone to who I am today. I finally built the confidence to also take my animation career seriously and film. Uh, and I finally registered the company Everflow Media. I'm saying this because it came from here. So this is a stepping stone for me, and it shaped me to be confident. It shaped me to be more creative than I was. It shaped me to remove my imposter syndrome and believe that I can also achieve greater things, because this is not something small. Spirits of Yambezi is not something small. There are many people who are crying for such opportunities, and you're able to like be given such a platform, and not just any role. You're also given part of the lead roles, and you know it's something inspiring that people can believe you in such a manner. So I was also proud that our movie, The Spirits of Yambezi, was nominated for,
Yes.
yeah, it
Let's
was,
talk more about that in part two.
yeah.
But
I'm
share, you can
happy.
share a little bit. Go ahead. We'll let you share.
Yeah, I'm so proud. It's really inspiring. I will share the trailer on Everflow Studios. I feel my audience also has to see that its founder also worked on this, and there's Sherper Studios out there that is also doing great things, and there's Paul Willow, there's Samantha. Yeah, it's a cool thing, and we will also dedicate to creating an artwork for the nomination for the film, so that just to show our gratitude and respect to the film. Yeah, but we really appreciate your commitment, and I appreciate the movie. Yeah, if there's any youth out there, please do not stop believing in yourself. Everything is a ladder. Keep climbing till you get there. Creativity is not any talent. Creativity can drive economies. Creativity can contribute to development. So take it by the horn. So yeah, thanks.
Yes, very true. Words of wisdom. And thank you, viewers. We'll see you again next week. Tune in. And until next time, stay happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Bye, guys. Thank you.